Brian Morrow with SeaWorld and Deep Blue Creative. So we're here to ride Kraken Unleashed. This is a virtual reality overlay. And tell us how the concept came about.
Well, the concept came about because we check and look for emerging trends in pop culture and culture in general, and technology trends are one that we do track. And we saw a lot of traction in the VR goggle category. And what we wanted, what we tasked and set ourselves out to do was actually create the best VR experience inside of a theme park environment, and so that's really what we've done here at Kraken Unleashed. We don't really reference it as an overlay because that would be kind of leaving a lot of the story behind, so we actually did a full complete change of the attraction and relaunched the attraction as a whole with a new name, a new entrance, a new queue, and of course the storytelling on the headsets themselves. And what it's really allowing us to do as an organization, a couple things simultaneously. It's really us experimenting and adopting some technology in the park to see how the guests react to it, number one. Number two, it supports our long-term and short-term vision of what we call digital wonders or digital destinations that we're creating inside of our parks, which are ways that we can sort of do things that we couldn't do with real animals or with tools that we currently have in our toolbox. So we're reaching out in the industry and finding really interesting, forward-thinking, sometimes startup companies that are really doing interesting things that we can fund and then sort of exploit that technology inside the parks in a mass market theme park experience.
So one of the things from reading about Kraken, and we're going to ride it fairly soon, is that unlike other VR coasters, this has an audio component. Is that correct?
It does have an audio, and that's important because if you don't have that level of, that extra layer of storytelling, which is an audio cue, and I'm quite fascinated with big musical scores, and what we have on the ride is actually a movie, a cinematic movie. It's not a video game, and it's not a wireframe, and it's not 2D, it's 3D content, fully rendered with a score that matches it, which is all part of the new sort of the cinematic experience you're going to have in this underwater chase scene. So without that, it would have left that key component of the immersion off the table.
Now, SeaWorld has a long history, SeaWorld and Busch Gardens have a long history with stereographic attractions, going back to Pirates and Haunted Lighthouse and all the way up to Turtle Trek. So what did you learn from those attractions that you applied to this one?
Yeah, so the biggest thing we've learned is to find the best people in the business and let them do their jobs well. We did hire a director for this film. He's out of LA because we directed it like an actual cinematic film. So he served as the owner-director, but outside of that, we really stay out of the way. We wrote the storyboards for the attraction, we wrote the main story beats that we wanted to have, and we created the style guide for the characters in the attraction. And then we let the people that do it best go do their jobs and be very, very good at doing it. So we find these great partners that we have that develop the content for us, and just let them be the best at what they do and kind of get out of their way. And that's a really important key, is the industry is sort of decentralizing throughout the whole industry as a whole. It's about grabbing these great startup companies and these super talented people that you'll find all over the world and using them to your sort of owner advantage, and not try to put them in boxes or overly manage them or overly produce them, but just let them do what they do best, and they will rise to the occasion and really rise your park and rise your attraction up as well. So that's like a big lesson of encouragement I would give everybody is use the resources and use the TEA and use the industry well. It's very important.
Now, since this is a totally new experience, you not only created this virtual film, but you redid the queue as well to kind of tell the backstory. Can you tell us a little about that?
Yeah, if we just slapped VR headsets on a coaster, it really wouldn't do the story we want to tell justice. So we started at the very entrance. We've changed all the music out. We've written all brand new scores throughout the whole queue line, the plaza. We've redid the Kraken. We've reimagined the Kraken from an eel character now to this squid octopus hybrid character that we've created. And all of this is really driving it towards the overall placemaking, because what's important with VR is once you put the headset on, you will place the guests in an environment, but without context of understanding how they got there, it will be quite shocking. So all of the queue lines leading up is placing the guests in that underwater submarine sea base, which is the architecture of the station inside the goggles as well. So it's important that we tell that story before the guests even got to the station and put the headsets on.
Now, one thing we've seen over the years with, for instance, the creation of Antarctica, Shark's Realm, with Mako being added to the shark exhibit, and now this ties in with Journey to Atlantis next door. Is this kind of the future of SeaWorld, to create small thematic realms, so to speak, throughout the park?
Yeah, we started, you're picking it all correctly, that is correct. So we call them story worlds and realms, and we're building those worlds one at a time around the parks, all the parks that we have. SeaWorld San Diego, we opened Ocean Explorers. It's a great story world next to the front gate, which is Explorers Reef, another fantastical story world with real animals inside of it. So that is a trend that you're going to continue seeing us move through. Even SeaWorld San Antonio, we opened Wavebreaker, and that is a whole story world built around the idea of a pop-up training facility for rescuers of the future, and we want to see if our guests have what it takes to be a SeaWorld rescuer of the future, to see if we can maybe get them inspired to join the teams and join the ranks to help animals.
And both of those attractions are now open.
Yeah, this is the big opening week for us. Yep.
Yes. And in terms of the VR, you actually, this is one of at least 3 VR attractions I'm aware of that SeaWorld's working on. You have the one that, is it open now in San Diego with the Orca VR?
Opens this weekend.
It opens this weekend, and you also have a project you're working on, Busch Gardens. Can you tell us a little about those and maybe some of the challenges you faced with each one?
Yeah, so Kraken Unleashed is a digital created world. It's all digital content, and it has chopped with challenges, ensuring that we had high image quality. There's no telephones being used inside the headsets. It's all bespoke, ground up built, so we had the best possible quality. SeaWorld San Diego is opening an attraction this weekend called Orca 360. Orca 360 is another experimental boutique attraction that we're toying with, and that attraction allows the guests to actually go into a theater that we've built that holds 12 people, very small, and they'll sit down and they'll put on a different type of headset, and they'll be inside the real world of killer whales. So we actually filmed our whales here at SeaWorld Orlando for the use of the film in California, and it's actually a chance for the guests to go underwater, and it's been well received so far by our team members who have been going through soft openings. Even one came out of it and said, you know, I didn't know I was going to go underwater. I'm actually deathly afraid of water. And it was such a real experience being with the whales underwater that it made my heart race. So it's really exciting to see those sort of reactions. So we're trying to see how do guests feel about real animals, but shown in a digital format, not as a replacement for the real animals, but a supplemental experience that you couldn't do. We can't put our guests in the water with the whales. So that's the big key. And that's part of our digital wonders and digital destinations efforts that we're doing throughout all the parks. And then Busch Gardens, Virginia is the next one that we've announced that will come online next year. And that is a indoor motion-based simulator that will use the actual screen in the theater as well, along with a digital immersion goggle experience, which is another custom piece of hardware we're building right now. So we'll have 3 different versions and tests to kind of see how guests react to this and how they respond technically.
Now you're using tethered VR on Kraken.
On everything.
On everything. Yeah. What is the advantage of that over, say, freestanding with some sort of a wireless signal?
Yeah, we're not seeing anything functioning off of Wi-Fi being reliable, repeatable in a theme park environment. So the tethering allows us complete control and guaranteed quality of image quality and synchronization quality. Also, we don't have to deal with recharging and all those other clumsy things. So everything's just kind of integrated into the rides, into the theater in 360, the Orca 360 theater, and then in Virginia it will also be tethered to the ride system.
So with the partnership with Morrow in Abu Dhabi and with Zhonghong in China, Macau, Taiwan, and Hong Kong, I believe the territories for, are we going to see some of the digital work that's being done here in the States find their way over, or possibly vice versa, where they might be incubated overseas and find their way to the stateside parks?
Yeah, all of the above. So the synergies of the SeaWorld enterprise as a whole, the organization as a whole, allows us to, and our relationships allows us to share that information back and forth. So this is I can push stuff from America, North America, up to overseas and vice versa. So those synergies are already occurring. Everything from by 2000 and whenever the Abu Dhabi park opens, we probably won't be talking about VR any longer. We'll be talking about something different. That's what we're working on next. So don't think about VR just kind of clunking down and going into somewhere else. It's here for today, but it's not going to be for forever, I don't think. It'll move into something, it'll transition itself into something else. Moving into the more augmented, mixed reality world is where we're focusing a lot of our efforts right now.
So you mentioned TEA earlier and the importance of participating in TEA. For the TEA Next Gen members, if they're interested in getting into this next generation of media-based attractions, what path do you recommend?
Yeah, The beauty is TEA will do it all for you. It's the portal into the whole industry, and so I really encourage next geners to become a next gener officially, join, register, and get engaged. And it's all about as much work as you put into it, you'll get back. So if you go to events and you go to networking events and you go to seminars and you learn, that'll all just come back to you and propel and catapult your career forward. But if you hide in the corner and just hope that somebody likes your resume, it won't work. You've really got to do the work. This is an industry of relationships. We're a hospitality industry. We love to entertain people. We love to make people happy and take them to amazing places. And to do that, you have to have good, positive human relationships with each other, because it's a very friendly world, and it's a very artful world, and it takes trust and knowledge and understanding of each other to put your art out in the world for people to judge and to decide if it's good or not, good enough or not. And so those relationships are very key. So I really encourage TEA or any young or not young, any want to change their whole life and move into this industry. It's possible to do, and TEA is probably the best portal to do that.
Okay, Brian, thanks so much.
All right.
Let's go on the ride.